Hey, I'm Adam Jusko from ProudMoney.com, and in this video we are going to look at credit score ranges and what your credit score means. But before we do that, I would ask you to please subscribe to our YouTube channel if you have not already, and if you have already, I thank you for doing so. So in this video we're going to look at credit score ranges. Credit scores go all the way up to a potential 850. That is a perfect credit score, but you do not need a perfect credit score in order to have excellent credit, in order to get the benefits of having excellent credit. So we are going to look within that large range, which goes from the 300s up to that 850. We're going to kind of slice that up and look at the credit score ranges that fall within there and where most people fall, and talk about whether those scores are excellent, good, fair, or bad credit. You can look at your own credit score, sort of compare it to what I'm saying, and think about where you fall in here, and also, sort of see if what I'm saying makes sense with what you are experiencing within your, your credit life right now. I would love to hear any comments to hear if I'm on the mark or if you are having a different experience. But let's get to it. We'll talk about the ranges, and you can see how things stack up here, right? So if you have a score of 760 or more, that is considered excellent credit. It means you have a fairly long history of paying your bills on time. You probably have multiple types of credit and loans that you have used in your adult life, and you've just over time built up a very high credit score. So life is good for you. What that means is, from lenders, you are getting the best rates. You probably don't have to pay any fees for most of the loans or credit cards that you take out. You're probably getting the best rewards, or at least you have the option to have the best rewards. Overall, lenders are sort of falling over themselves to try to get you as a customer. So that may mean that you're getting big credit lines, or you're being offered new credit all the time. If you get loans, they are doing what it takes to get you as a customer. So life is good when you have excellent credit. Now, the next range that falls between 700 and 759 is what you would consider good credit. In general, this means you are usually approved for loans and credit cards and those sorts of things that you may want, but you may not get the very best rates. There is the possibility that you would have to pay some fees that maybe the excellent credit people do not. But you are just a little bit under that excellent credit, but you can probably still get the credit you want. Now, this range in some ways is a gray area, because we're sort of there's sort of a big piece there between 700 and 759. If you're at the very top of that range, you're almost at excellent credit, and some lenders are going to consider you as an excellent credit customer, and you're going to get all sort of the benefits of being that. If you're further down by 700, some lenders might think of you as more fair credit, and you might actually fall into the next range that we're going to talk about. If you're smack dab in the middle, this is probably, sort of fits with the description that I am saying here. So this one has some gray area. So the higher you are, obviously the higher you are anywhere, the better. But, the higher you are within this range, the better you're going to be treated. If you're on the low end, you could be getting a significantly different experience with, from people that are on that high end, even though I'm sort of lumping you both into the same area. So anyway, if you have a credit score within this range, it's possible you have a shorter credit history, so you haven't been able to build up enough to get to that 760 mark. It's possible that if you do have a longer credit history, that you've had, a few mistakes along the way. You've got some late payments. Maybe you've, had a longer delinquency somewhere in the past. But you are at a decent place. Lenders see you as someone who, for the most part, they trust to give credit to or to give loans to, but because they might see you a little bit riskier, you might be, not get those very best rates if you're in that 700 to 759 range. Now, if you are below 700 going down to 650, so if you're 650 to 699, this is what you would consider fair credit or average credit. This means that you could even be shut out of some loans or credit cards. Your credit score is just not high enough for certain lenders. The lenders that do want you probably are going to charge you higher interest rates. There's more likely that you are going to have to pay extra fees in order to get a loan or get credit. In the past, you probably have, some sort of problem with your credit if you have had credit for a while, whether that's late payments or whether that's a longer delinquency, or whether that's having a credit card that totally had to be written off. Unless you are new to credit, there's probably some issue in the past. If you are very, very new to credit, you may be sitting in this range purely from the fact that you haven't built up any credit history. You have what is called a thin file, and so you're sort of stuck in this range sort of as a starting place in a way, and that's how lenders see you. They don't totally trust you because they don't know much about you, but they also are not going to put you into the worst category either because you haven't done anything wrong at this point. So there's sort of the two things there. If you have that longer credit history and you had some problems, you could end up in that average to fair credit. If you're very, very new to credit, you also could be in this range as well. Now, if you're under 650, this is what we would consider bad credit. You obviously, somewhere along the line, have had some fairly large problems with credit, not just a late payment here or there. You might have had, one or more, credit cards have to be completely written off by the lender. Bad credit can happen in a lot of ways. Sometimes it's, sort of the responsibility of the person who just didn't handle credit well. Sometimes there's medical issues that come up that then people kind of go into a downward spiral and they hurt their credit that way. But whatever the situation, if you're sitting under 650, that is going to be considered bad credit by most lenders. It means you're going to have, fewer choices for loans or for credit cards. In many cases, you are just going to be turned down. It is going to be a harder road to hoe. If you are in this bad credit sphere, oftentimes because it is difficult to get new credit, one of the things that we suggest doing is getting a secured credit card if you're trying to build your credit back up, because that lets you, get a credit card that you can actually, start building a better history, make your payments each month, watch that credit score go up as long as you do everything right. You do have to put a security deposit down to get it, but that is sort of the price you pay, I guess, in order to try and get your credit score up, because most people aren't going to give you a credit card or other loans for that matter when you have bad credit. So if you're under 650, you're probably considered bad credit. You're probably having a difficult time out there. So those are sort of the ranges. Below 650, there's a big piece there from like the 300s to 650. Most people aren't going to fall, below like 500 or something like that. Although I have known people who have been in the 400s. I'm not even sure why the very bottom of that range exists. I think every single loan you take out, you would have to never pay back in order to fall at the very bottom of the scale. But anyway, those are sort of the pieces. It would be interesting to know, based on what I've said, if you agree with, based on your credit score, where you fit. I would love to hear what your score is and, what your experiences are and where, whether what I've said makes sense with what you have experienced. So thank you for watching. Please go to proudmoney.com, where we talk about other personal finance topics. We do credit card reviews and all sorts of other fun stuff too. Thanks for watching. Bye.